بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا وبه نستعين وما توفيقي إلا بالله عليه توكلت إليه أنيب أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, all thanks and glorifications are due to Allah Ta'ala. We thank Him, we glorify Him. I bear witness there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. He has no partner, He is alone, and I bear witness that our Prophet Nabiuna Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is a true slave and messenger of Allah. We thank Him for giving us another opportunity to be gathered here in the Masjid of Federal University of Technology, Mina, to continue taking lessons from the verses of the glorious Quran towards changing bad attitudes to good ones, to positive ones. Today, we are on the 12th of Ramadan, 1446 years after the Hijrah of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which is equivalent to 12th of March 2025. We are in this surah, Surah Al-A'raf, and that's chapter 7 of the glorious Quran. The last verse we stopped was verse 27. Go? Yes. Verse 27. So inshallah today we'll continue from verse 28. Okay, no? Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا فعلوا فاحشة قالوا وجدنا عليها آباءنا والله أمرنا بها قل إن الله لا يأمر بالفحشاء أتقولون على الله ما لا تعلمون.
Allah Ta'ala says regarding those people who reject faith, those that are not believers. Remember, Allah Ta'ala told us about the story of Nabiuna Adam alayhi salam and how the devil misled him, misguided him through so many other sort of deceptive promises. And then the lessons we took there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us those lessons so that our stay in this dunya can be well guided by revelation. Allah ta'ala told us in a verse before this that you should be careful against, be careful not to follow the temptations of the devil, the temptations of shaitan. When Allah ta'ala said, Ya bani Adam, la yaftinannakum shaitan kama akhraja abawaykum min al-jannah. Never shall you allow shaitan to tempt you, to seduce you, to deceive you in the way he did the same thing to your parents, your father Adam and Hawa, and then that led them to coming out of Jannah. Never shall you do that. Allah Ta'ala is now saying regarding those people who disbelieve, like in the last verse he said, Inna ja'alna shayateena awliya'a lilladhina la yu'minun. Allah Ta'ala said the shayateen, the devils, are friends and companions as well as allies to those people, alladhina la yu'minun, the people that never believed, meaning the people that abandon believe, the disbelievers. And what they do, Allah Ta'ala now is telling us, as we said yesterday, you take the life before dunya. What came before dunya? You now take the dunya and then you take the akhirah. Linking these three. Now we have gotten lessons before coming to this dunya. Now we are in this dunya, which is a place of struggle between the devil, the evil things, and the good things. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you are going to be like enemies to one another. Ba'adukum li ba'adin adu. So in this dunya, you see those who do not believe. وَإِذَا فَعَلُوا فَاحِشَةً. Whenever they commit any shameful act, al-fahisha, al-fuhush, sin that is a sinful sin, something that is evil. When they do that, قَالُوا, instead of them to accept that they have done wrong, and they therefore need to correct themselves, Allah said, they will say, وَجَدْنَا عَلَيْهَا آبَاءَنَا وَاللَّهُ أَمَرَنَا بِهَا. They will say what is happening is that this is a tradition. This is a tradition, we met our parents on it. And وَاللَّهُ أَمَرَنَا بِهَا, Allah instructed us to do that. They will give excuse. Tradition, we inherited it, it's our tradition, it's our culture. And then the next thing, Allah permitted it. He even instructed us. And that is why we're committing this fuhush. And this fahisha, scholars mention the reason behind revealing this verse. When Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam came, there were a lot of traditional practices in Mecca. A lot of traditional practices that go contrary to even normal human reasoning. Such kind of traditional practices include what? Burying a daughter alive. If someone gives birth to a girl child, he will just go and kill her, because to him, girl child is a liability. Girl child is a liability. So if there are many, they become a big liability, because they don't go into battlefield to fight, to protect the country. They don't go into farming. They become a liability. So at the end, the best thing is to go and just kill her. When Annabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came, he made that tradition. But then he changed that particular tradition and even stated so many beautiful things about getting a girl child. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, whoever Allah blessed to have 2 or 3 or even 1 girl child, and he trained her, that will serve as a license for him to be admitted into Jannah. And for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to serve as a role model, Allah Ta'ala gave him female children. And even as his death, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the only child he left was a female daughter. And then Rasul did so much that will show that he loved a sort of female children. Regarding all this ahadith that he has been mentioning, a lot of provisions in the Sharia came to show that the girl child have a right, just like the male child. Earlier, before then, women don't inherit. They are not part of those to inherit wealth. Why? Because as mentioned, the tradition they have is that the person that should inherit should be someone that can serve as a soldier to defend the family, to defend the country, to do this and that. So our women cannot do that. So they don't inherit. So if someone should die, his own male relation will just inherit his wealth. Even his wife will not inherit anything. In fact, the wife herself is part of what can be inherited. Rasul made this culture and tradition. But then when Islam came, Islam declared no. As far as inheritance is concerned, the girl child have the right to inherit just like the male child. And then as far as inheritance is in Islam is concerned, the wife have the right to inherit no matter the situation or circumstance. In the same way the husband is to inherit the wife. And I know when we study Surah An-Nisa, we explain inheritance, isn't it? That if you have a girl child and she is the only child you have, is فَرَدَتِ الْبِنْتُ فَلَهَا النِّصْفُ. She is entitled to inherit half of the wealth of her father if she is the only one that is surviving. If a father should die, leave his daughter, leave his mother, leave his wife, leave his brothers and cousins, but one daughter, the daughter is entitled to 1/2 of his wealth. Half of the money will go to her. And then before you can think of this, brothers and whatever, and cousins and whatever. Then in terms of a wife, if someone should die and leave his wife, if he doesn't have any child, that particular wife is entitled to 1/4 of his wealth. While if he has a child, she is entitled to 1/8 of his wealth. Then the same thing to mothers. There is no situation where a mother cannot inherit. A mother inherits her own child. In the same way, a sister, the same father and mother, and the sister of the same father, and the sister of the same mother, in the same way. The only thing is, the ratio can differ based on situation and circumstance that particular deceased have left behind. For example, if he die and leave two female daughters, they are entitled to 2/3 of the wealth. So that 1/3 will be what can be shared to others that have the right to inherit. But if it is one daughter, then she inherits half. But then if it is a male and female children that he has, he died, he left 1 child and 2 daughters, or 5 male children and 10 female children. Then in this situation, the male child will carry double of what the female daughter will carry. So in this situation, the male will have double, while the female daughter will have 1. And you understand that very well in Islam, because Islam has provision for everything regarding what you need in your life. If a wife, who is now this daughter, if finally she becomes a wife, the responsibility of feeding her, of taking care of her, of clothing her, is automatically transferred from her to her husband. But for this particular male child, if he should marry a wife, then the responsibility of taking care of that wife is squarely on him. And also being the male child, responsibility of that particular daughter, even if she's not married, come back to him as the elder brother, and so many other things. So what we are saying here is that Islam came and emancipated women. And that particular moment when Islam was talking about inheritance of women, you look at other civilizations, Greek civilization, Indian civilization, Chinese civilization, and others, go and read history, you realize that in all these civilizations, women have no right to inherit. Even in the Western culture, it's of recent that the issue of women inheritance now came up that they should. But in Islam, it is there in the book, in the deen, that they have a right to inherit. So Rasul now changed that particular tradition. Another culture and tradition that they have is this one. وَإِذَا فَعَلُوا فَاحِشَةً. If they commit a shameful sin, what is that shameful sin? They have a tradition that the people, the Quraysh that are living within Mecca, that are taking care of the Kaaba, they are taken to be a special class of people. They are a special class of people. And even in terms of worshiping, they are taken as people that are so special in terms of sin, in terms of closeness to God and whatever. So if people come from foreign land, they are to come and perform that tawaf to the Kaaba, because they inherited Kaaba building right from Abraham alayhi salam. You remember, Kaaba was built by Abraham as well as Ismail. When Allah Ta'ala directed Abraham to go and take the mother of Ismail to that burial land, which is recorded in history, both in Islamic history and other history. He took Ismail to that burial land. That burial land was called Bakka at that particular time. Bakka. So he stayed there, built the Kaaba. Right from that particular moment, he built the Kaaba and prayed to Allah to make it a center of worship. Allah accepted that prayer. So since that particular time, people used to come from all the nooks and corners of the world to come and serve, perform some act of worship. So during the Jahiliyyah period, the Arabs have it now in their tradition that the Quraysh and those around the Kaaba are a special class of people. So if you come to perform the tawaf, that going around to the Kaaba, you must come with a cloth that you have never committed sin. Because the Kaaba is a clean place. So the cloth you must come with, you must never have committed any sin. If you have committed anything or you are in doubt, if you come to the Kaaba, you must buy clothes from Quraysh. Quraysh are the one to sell clothes for you to increase their own. You know, some people manipulate the common man in order to build their own economy. So you must buy clothes only from Quraysh. And if you cannot buy clothes from Quraysh, then if you are going around the Kaaba, you have to go around naked. And then the women can go around naked in the night, while the men can go around naked. That means if they cannot buy clothes from Kaaba. This was also an established tradition in them. So they used to do that. In fact, there is a kind of statement. One woman was going around the Kaaba, that's in Jahiliyyah period. He said, I will not expose all of it. I will expose, even if it will be exposed, it's only going to be part of it. And even part of it that is exposed, I will not make it lawful to others. Do you know what she means? I will not expose all of it. Even if I expose part of it, even the part of it is not going to be lawful to someone that I did not make it lawful. What does that mean? Meaning her private parts. And it is like that they will be going around the Kaaba naked. So if you now say, why are you allowing people coming to do this thing? Then this is what Allah is saying, وَإِذَا فَعَلُوا فَاحِشَةً. So this fahisha is just that particular shameful deed. Or any other fuhush, like even, قَالُوا وَجَدْنَا عَلَيْهَا آبَاءَنَا. They will reply that it's our tradition. We made our parents on it. It is our culture. Wallahu amarana biha, and Allah instructed us to do that. You know, these are two statements. And scholars says, usually, people that commit something and you tell them that God did not approve this, they usually come back to these two things. They will either tell you that it's a tradition, it's a culture, or they will invent lie against Allah Ta'ala and say Allah has permitted it. So you need to ask yourself. Even people of religion, especially other religion, they talk about false prophecies, isn't it? They use the name of God in order to get whatever they are getting. They say this is our culture, this is our tradition, and God has permitted it. And through that they get what they will get. So Allah Ta'ala said, قَالُوا وَجَدْنَا عَلَيْهَا آبَاءَنَا وَاللَّهُ أَمَرَنَا بِهَا. قُلْ, Allah said to Rasul, say to them, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَأْمُرُ بِالْفَحْشَاءِ. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَأْمُرُ بِالْفَحْشَاءِ. Allah will never instruct people to commit shameful sin. لَا يَأْمُرُ بِالْفَحْشَاءِ. Allah will never instruct that. So by implication, what you are doing is never based on the instructions of Allah. أَتَقُولُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ? Are you going to say to Allah what you do not have evidence, what you do not know? You are going to invent lies against Allah? So it means Allah never instructed that. Our scholar says, look at what Allah said here. They make two statements, isn't it? What was the first one? The first one is what? Our tradition, our culture. And the second one, Allah instructed us. When Allah was disputing them, He said He never instructed to evil. But He didn't reply them regarding their culture. He didn't reply them whether it is a tradition or not. He didn't reply. He only replied that Allah never permit this. So by implication, yes, it might be they inherited it. Do you get that? It might be tradition, but even if it is a tradition, if it is evil, Allah never permits it. That's the statement. Do you get that? Even if it is a culture, a tradition, Allah never permits it, as much as it is evil. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَتَقُولُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ? Are you going to say to Allah what you do not have evidence, what is not based on knowledge, what is not based on proofs? So you see, the devil have started now. The devil have started by what? Telling people to hold on to culture and tradition. And the second one, to invent lies against Allah, to justify their evil means. Then Allah Ta'ala said, قُلْ أَمَرَ رَبِّي بِالْقِسْطِ
قل أمر ربي بالقسط وأقيموا وجوهكم عند كل مسجد ودعوه مخلصين له الدين كما بدأكم تعودون.
قل أمر ربي بالقسط وأقيموا وجوهكم عند كل مسجد ودعوه مخلصين له الدين كما بدأكم تعودون. أي قل لهم يا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم أو قل للناس أمر ربي بالاستقامة والعدل في كل الأمور يعني بالقسط. Tell them Allah have given command and Allah has instructed that we should run our affairs with justice. So you see, the first thing that Allah Ta'ala called on human being to hold on to here is what? Justice. Bil adl, bil qisd. Never should you now swerve into injustice or oppression. Wa aqimu wujuhakum. And Allah also directed that you should be focused. Aqimu wujuhakum. Turn your faces in the kulli masjidin. In every places of worship, remain focused to worship Allah alone. This now avoid a shirk or associating partner to Allah. وَدَعُوهُ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. And you should now invoke and call His name and supplicate and pray to Him, مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ, making your religion to be sincere to Him. Just as Allah Ta'ala said, وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ حُنَفَاءَ وَيُقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُوا الزَّكَاةَ وَذَلِكَ دِينُ الْقَيِّمَةِ. So Allah Ta'ala is saying, what Allah instructed, He instructed justice. And He instructed that you should remain focused in worshiping Allah and you should be sincere and call unto Allah alone. كَمَا بَدَأَكُمْ تَعُودُونَ. Just in the same way Allah initiated your creation, you came in different ways, so shall you go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you know the stay in this dunya is temporal, isn't it? Whatever happens in this dunya, at the end, you go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ثُمَّ إِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. At the end, you go back to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in the same way you came into this dunya, you are scattered into groups, some doing evil, some doing good, some kind, some wicked, some this, some. That's how you go back to Allah. Allah will give you a different stations and where you are going to end up in akhirah. Allah Ta'ala said, فَرِيقًا هَدَى.
فريقا هدى وفريقا حق عليهم الضلالة إنهم اتخذوا الشياطين أولياء من دون الله ويحسبون أنهم مهتدون.
فريقا هدى وفريقا حق عليهم الضلالة إنهم اتخذوا الشياطين أولياء من دون الله ويحسبون أنهم مهتدون. You see people, فريقا هدى, a party being guided, following the path of guidance. فريقا هدى وفريقا حق عليهم الضلالة. A party, misguidance have been stamped on them, meaning they live on the path of misguidance. A party living on the path of guidance and another living misguided. May Allah protect us. And that is why Allah Ta'ala guided us as Muslims every day, more than 17 times, at least in our prayer, we ask Allah of this hidayah to Sirat al-Mustaqim, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. And that Sirat al-Mustaqim is Sirat al-Ladhina an'amta alayhim. Sirat al-Ladhina an'amta. What is that straight path? Straight path, as I used to mention, mathematicians will say the straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points that never know any crook or bend. So that straight path that leads to success, Sirat al-Mustaqim, Sirat al-Ladhina an'amta alayhim, the path of those that Allah have favored, min al-Nabiyyin, was-Siddiqeen, was-Shuhada, was-Salihin, wa hasuna ulaika rafiqa. The path of the righteous servant. That's why we want to belong to. غير المغضوب عليهم. Not the path of those that earn the anger of Allah, that knew the truth but they suppress it. Those are the people maghdubi alayhim. People that will follow misguidance even though they know it is wrong. Maghdubi alayhim. Wala dhalin. No, the path of those that have gone astray. People that think probably they are the path of guidance, but never they were not like that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Kama bada'anakum aw kama bada'akum ta'udun. As Allah created you, started your creation, you will come back to Allah. And how you live in this dunya, fariqan hada wa fariqan haqqa alayhim ad-dalala. One party on the path of guidance and the other party on the path of misguidance. Those people on the path of misguidance, what happened? إِنَّهُمُ اتَّخَذُوا الشَّيَاطِينَ أَوْلِيَاءَ. They have taken the devils and the shayateen to be their own awliya, to be their own protectors, to be their own friends, to be their own companions, to be their own allies. اتَّخَذُوا الشَّيَاطِينَ. Remember Allah Ta'ala told us even before coming to this dunya that never should you take the devils as awliya, isn't it? That if you do that, this is what he did to your parents earlier. So those people that take the path of misguidance, what happened is that اتَّخَذُوا الشَّيَاطِينَ أَوْلِيَاءَ. They have taken the devils to be their own allies. They have taken the devils to be their protectors. They have taken the devils to be their own friends. Min dunillah, instead of Allah. Instead of Allah. And that's the first wrong deeds that led them to misguidance. Remember we mentioned the issue of zulm. That is, injustice can be in 3 forms. The injustice that you do it against yourself. You see the truth, you refuse to obey the truth. You do it against yourself. And then what you do, unjust steps or things you can do against Allah, Allah created you alone and they are associated partner with Him. And then the injustice between you and others is to go and take their wealth or to destroy their reputation or integrity or to shed their blood or to cause some difficulties to them. So those people that, submitted to this injustice, what happened is that they took the devils to be their guide instead of taking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. And then thinking that they are guided. Thinking that they are guided. But the reality is they are not guided. Because they are either following traditions that is not based on knowledge, or they are following something that they are only claiming that God gave them order while He has never given them any instruction. That's why the Quran will always say, Hatu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqin. If you have any evidence, bring it forward. Because Islam is built on evidence. Islam is built on knowledge. Islam is built on what is right. So if what you are saying is correct, provide proofs, provide evidence. If you don't have the evidence, then automatically what you are following is misguidance. So Allah Ta'ala said, وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ, thinking that they were guided, but the reality is that they are not. Ya Bani Adam.
يا بني آدم خذوا زينتكم عند كل مسجد ودعوه يا بني آدم خذوا زينتكم عند كل مسجد وكلوا واشربوا ولا تسرفوا إنه لا يحب المسرفين.
So Allah Ta'ala now have told us how the devilish temptation have led mankind to misguidance. And taking devil or the shaitan as an ally or as a friend or as a source of guidance, that at the end you end up, may Allah protect us, being misguided. And that misguidance, like what they were claiming, Allah Ta'ala instructed us, oh, it is our tradition. Either that we inherited it from our parents, or it is also an approval by Allah Ta'ala. Allah disputed that. That Allah said, Ya Bani Adam, O you the children of Adam, meaning those who are the children of Adam that passed through all those trials, all those trials that he passed through in Jannah, the devil deceived him, he swore to him, he whispered to him that he is only guiding him to what will be of benefit to him, and this, and that, and he succumbed, and at the end, he suffered the consequences. You, the children of the same Adam, listed. So Allah now is giving instruction. You see, even this issue, what make the evil people with the good ones? It's not just committing the evil, because even good people sometimes they commit fahisha. They commit fahisha, which is sin. Good people can sometimes commit error and commit sin. But the difference is, the good ones, if they commit error, if they commit sin or sinful act, Allah told us that what they do, الذين إذا فعلوا فاحشة أو ظلموا أنفسهم ذكروا الله فاستغفروا لذنوبهم ومن يغفر الذنوب إلا الله ولم يصروا على ما فعلوا وهم يعلمون. So the difference is that a good person who will have committed sin, whenever you tell him this is bad, zakarullah, he will remember Allah and come back and say, oh, I forgot him. Oh, it's a mistake. Oh, it's wrong thing. I will come back. But if it is an evil person, he will give excuses. Yes, we inherited it. It's our tradition. It's our tradition. It's our tradition. Oh, Allah amarana biha. Oh, I have evidence and proof. So this is the difference. An evil person will always give excuses. But a good person will instantly come back. And that is why when Adam committed the sin, what happened? Immediately Allah Ta'ala says, Alam anhakuma antilkuma shajara wa aqul lakuma inna shaytana lakuma aduwwun mubin. Didn't I warn you? They say, Rabbana zalamna anfusana. We have committed wrong. Never giving excuses. So Allah Ta'ala said, the disbelievers, they will give excuse. We inherited it, it's our culture. Oh, Allah instructed us. So Allah said, Ya Bani Adam, oh, you the children of Adam, you knew what happened. So in this dunya, خُذُوا زِينَتَكُمْ عِنْدَ كُلِّ مَسْجِدٍ وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. Oh, you the children of Adam. That tradition, that's where Izafa Alu Fahisha, we are still going back to it. That tradition of going around the Kaaba naked because you don't have clothes, that you have never committed sin. That tradition that you have that is not sanctioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding your clothing, regarding what you are going to adorn yourself, regarding what you are going to eat. Because even in terms of eating, you remember in Surah Al-An'am. Surah Al-An'am, we also studied how they declared certain animals as halal and certain animals as haram. And certain animals specially for some and then specially prohibited for others, isn't it? So Allah Ta'ala said, no, the children of Adam, خُذُوا زِينَتَكُمْ عِنْدَ كُلِّ مَسْجِدٍ. In every place of worship, go and adorn yourself very well. Anything that is beautiful, Allah never asks you not to wear beautiful things. Go and wear your beautiful things. Go and wear your beautiful clothes. Go and dress very well in the kulli masjidin. Wakulu washrabu. Regarding eating, eat and as well as drink. Eat and drink. No prohibition other than what Allah prohibited. Nothing is unlawful other than what Allah declared unlawful. But as far as the dunya is concerned, anything created has been created for the benefit and use of mankind. Allah has no need for that. So he declared just few things. The cycle of prohibitions we mentioned, isn't it? Cycles of obligations, cycle of prohibitions, and cycles of the permissible. The permissible are so wide, virtually by default. Everything beneficial is permissible. That's the default. Every food is permissible. That's the default. Other than the food that have been declared as prohibited, and they are few. Or those ones that will cause harm to the body. This one is to say, but other than that, anything is permissible. So Allah Ta'ala says, Kulu, go and eat. Washrabu, and drink as much as you can drink. But the only thing is, Wala tusrifu, you shouldn't waste or go into wastages. This one, Innahu la yuhibbul musrifin. Allah never likes people that go into wastage. And remember also, we mentioned at the beginning of this tafsir this year, that anything that Allah has given you, you have to use it in how many ways? 3 ways, isn't it? The first way is what? Benefit yourself. And the second is what? Benefit others. And the third is what? Do not waste. Avoid wastages. Anything you see in this dunya that Allah has given you, benefit yourself, benefit others, avoid wastages. So Allah Ta'ala said, Kulu washrabu wa la tusrifu innahu la yuhibbul musrifin. Eat and drink, but avoid wastages. For Allah Ta'ala do not like people that promote wastages. So even, let's come back to our country. Let's come back to our community. As we said, we are talking in terms of issues that has to do with attitude, isn't it? Allah has given us a lot of natural resources, underground natural resources, isn't it? Allah has given us vast land. Allah has given us both human and material resources in abundance. What do we do with this? We should eat. We should use it. But avoid what? Wastages. So one of the problems, even of our economy, is wastages. Allowing all those leakages. That's the problem. Once you allow leakages, then you will not benefit from these bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But once you close those leakages and you never go into wastage, Allah have created enough for mankind. Allah have created enough for mankind. Where you live, in fact, some scholars are saying anything you need is around you. Even your nature, your form, Allah created in a way and manner that it will suit your own environment. And that is why for those that were in Eskimo land, Allah created their body to suit that particular environment. Those that are in hot regions, places, Allah created them to suit that particular environment. Those that are living in the remote villages, Allah made their body to suit that particular environment. And those that are living on table water and table whatever, Allah made their body to suit that particular place. So Allah provided for everybody, but wastages is the problem. I mean, if experts like our profs that are all around us will tell you what is available in this country, you begin to be wondering, why are we suffering then? You begin to be wondering, what is the problem then? But then the immediate thing that will come to you is that you will hear one person having 10 billion, or even more, isn't it? One person, trillion, one person. So you hear one person having up to that amount that somebody is saying. And in the same community, don't go far. You have one person that is eating 101. The same community. Somebody say 100. And don't be surprised, it may be the same. The kilometers may not be wide. That living within the same environment. The same person that have that 10 billion, maybe he even have a family relation that is that 101. But he never cares. That's why the problem is. Not that Allah denied us. Allah have given us all the resources. Kulu washrabu wala tusrifu. Use it. Benefit from it. But avoid wastages. Because inna Allah la yuhibbul musrifin. Allah do not like. And if Allah do not like, you can never get it right. So if the country is promoting things that Allah do not like, how can that particular country get it right? If people are living on wastages, they are living on all this, wasting resources, and Allah says He doesn't like that, how can they get it right? You can have the money, you can have the resources in abundance, but how about the peace of mind? How about the comfort? How about enjoying it? How about being happy with it? And people are more happy if they share with others. You live in the midst of people that doesn't have, if you have, but you share with them. They'll protect you. That's why a community that denies some people the basic means of life, that people will become a threat to that community, and you can't control them. Will become a threat to the community. If you deny some people, you are denying yourself, or you are creating a problem to yourself. It is if you share, and that's why the institution of zakat become compulsory in Islam, so that you don't accumulate wealth only within a particular cycle. No, there must be zakat, and Allah mentioned the people that should benefit from this zakat. May Allah assist us. So Allah is saying, Kulu washrabu wa la tusrifu, innahu la yuhibbul musrifin. Qul man harrama.
قل من حرم زينة الله التي أخرج لعباده والطيبات من الرزق قل هي للذين آمنوا في الحياة الدنيا خالصة يوم القيامة كذلك نفصل الآيات لقوم يعلمون.
Allah Ta'ala said, قل من حرم زينة الله التي أخرج لعباده والطيبات من الرزق قل هي للذين آمنوا في الحياة الدنيا خالصة يوم القيامة كذلك نفصل الآيات لقوم يعلمون. Allah Ta'ala is now giving them a reply, those that declare certain things lawful and others unlawful, and those that declare certain things as permissible to others are not permissible to others. Allah Ta'ala mentioned earlier, no, eat, drink, and use it. In a hadith reported by Imam Ahmad, Imam Nasa'i, the hadith said, Kulu washrabu wa tasaddaqu wa albisu fi ghayri makhilatin wa la sarafin fa inna Allah yuhibbu an yura asra ni'amihi ala ibadihi wa ala abdihi. A hadith reported here that eat and benefit from the bounties of Allah. Eat from it, drink from it, and then wa tasaddaqu and give others, help others. And then وَأَلْبِسُوا فِي غَيْرِ مَخِيلًا. Wear the best clothes, but avoid arrogance. Wear the best clothes, but avoid arrogance. وَلَا الصَّرْفِ وَلَا الصَّرَفِ. Avoid also wastages. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ, because Allah يُحِبُّ أَنْ يُرَى أَثَرُ نَعْمِهِ عَلَى عَبْدِهِ. Allah wants to see a sign of His blessings on His servant. What does this mean? Allah, if Allah bless you, you should show that Allah bless you. Don't go and wearing tattered clothes to hide yourself as if you don't have anything. No, Allah wants to see that He has blessed you. And that's why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned in one hadith. Allah Ta'ala can be pleased. Inna Allah la yarda ala al-abd an ya'kula al-akala. Allah will be happy with a servant that will eat a morsel of food or drink something and then وَيَحْمَدَ اللَّهَ عَلَيْهِ, and will say, oh Allah, thank you for this. Allah will admit that person in Jannah. So Allah wants to see you benefiting from what He has given you. He wants you to eat and thank Him. He wants you to use it and thank Him, not to hide it. But the only thing is, do not waste that particular resources. So Allah Ta'ala said, "Qul, say to them that are declaring certain things prohibited and declaring certain things as lawful, Man harrama zinatallahi allati akhraja li ibadihi." Tell them, who is that declared as unlawful what Allah Ta'ala have created, the beautiful things Allah have created for His servant. Allah created it. Who declared it as prohibited? Is it Allah? Allah never declared it. Do you have the right to declare it's prohibited, knowing fully well that you do not own it? You are not the one that created it. You do not own it. You are not the one that created the human being. You do not own them. Why should you decree that certain things are lawful and unlawful to them? Allah said, who did that? Allah never did that. But what Allah Ta'ala said, الَّتِي أَخْرَجَ لِعِبَادِهِ وَالطَّيِّبَاتِ مِنَ الرِّزْقِ, and a provision that is clean and pure and decent that Allah have created. Who made them prohibited? Allah Ta'ala said, قُلْ, say to them, هِيَ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. These beautiful things in this dunya, Allah have created it to benefit the believers in this dunya. So to benefit the believers in this dunya, خَالِصَةً يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, and specifically reserved for them only in the day of Al-Qiyamah. Scholars say, what does this verse mean? Allah said, all the beautiful things in this dunya, all the beneficial things in this dunya, all the good things in this dunya, Allah have created is for believers. But it is reserved specifically for the believers in the day of Al-Qiyamah. Scholar says, it means in this dunya, Allah created all these things for people to enjoy it and serve Him. That's why Allah created it. But they are not the only one to benefit from it. Even the disbelievers, even the sinners, even the arrogant ones, even the evil ones, they will all enjoy it. But the default or the reason behind creating this is for people to believe and enjoy it. And that's why He said now, but after death, khalisatan, but after death, it is going to be only for them. And that is why after death, if you are not a believer, you miss all opportunities to enjoy anything from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in this dunya, everything is allowed for the believer to make use of, but that should not be the goal and target of existence. But it should be what? What as a means. Get this dunya, get the money, get the resources, get all these things, but use it to earn the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is what will make you to be different from the disbeliever, who will now use it and then disobey Allah ta'ala. Who will use it and rebel against Allah, but you use it and thank Allah. And that's why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if a servant take a morsel of food or drink a drop of water and then he thank Allah, that can earn him the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah ta'ala said, خَالِصَةٍ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ كَذَلِكَ نُفَصِّلُ الْآيَاتِ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْلَمُونَ. In the way this explanation is coming gradually, verse by verse, كَذَلِكَ, in the same way, نُفَصِّلُ الْآيَاتِ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْلَمُونَ. That is how we explain our signs, our verses, our wonders, our teachings gradually, لِقَوْمٍ يَعْلَمُونَ, to those people that apply knowledge, meaning to know and to apply what is expected of them to know. That is the قوم يعلمون. Allah Ta'ala said, now,
قل إنما حرم ربي والفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن. قل إنما حرم ربي الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن والإثم والبغي بغير الحق وأن تشركوا بالله ما لم ينزل به سلطانا وأن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلمون.
قل إنما حرم ربي الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن والإثم والبغي بغير الحق وأن تشركوا بالله ما لم ينزل به سلطانا وأن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلمون. أي قل يا أيها الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم, O the messenger of Allah, tell these people that are telling all these things that are not correct, that are wrong, people that are following the path of misguidance, قل, say to them, إنما حرم, the only thing that Allah made unlawful, what Allah made unlawful, what He declared as prohibited is that my Lord harama rabbi. What my Lord declared as prohibited is al-fawahisha, things that are shameful, sinful, and evil. This one Allah prohibited it. So whatever you are doing, if that particular thing will lead you to committing sin, that Allah has prohibited it. Or shameful acts such as adultery, fornication, nakedness, and whatever, all these things, Allah has prohibited that. So amara rabbi al-fawahish, ma zahara minha ma batan. All these evil things, all these sin that Allah made prohibited, what is manifest and also what is hidden. It doesn't matter where it is. As much as that thing is evil, whether people see it or do not see it, it stands as prohibited. And you know one thing with a believer knows that Allah is seeing him, right? A believer knows that Allah is watching him. So that foolish, that evil, it doesn't matter whether he's alone or whether he's in the midst of people. To him, it's evil and it remains evil. It is only if he doesn't have the belief, sound belief, that he can hide and say nobody is seeing him. Remember the example we gave, isn't it? If we have CCTV in this masjid, CCTV here, CCTV there, CCTV all over, and then money is kept there, and you know the meaning of CCTV, and you know that if you take this money, what will happen? Will you take the money? Why? Because you have knowledge and you are aware and you believe that CCTV is seeing you. So you have a belief CCTV is seeing you. But if nobody is there, Allah is seeing you. Do you have belief that He is seeing you? Do you have belief that He is seeing you? See, this is the question. So if you believe, your belief in Allah is stronger than the belief in CCTV, then you will not disobey Allah in the open or in the secret. Because you know He is seeing you. So Allah Ta'ala declared that is prohibited. Ma zahara minha wa ma batan. Whatever is fuhush, whether it is open, whether it is secret, whether people knew, whether people do not know, whether it is in you, whether it is wherever, Allah prohibited that. Ma zahara minha wa ma batan. Wal ithma. Then Allah prohibited sin, what had been declared sin as ithm. Al-fuhush is shameful acts that you would even detest to hear it. Do you get that? Al-ithm is a sin that Allah declared as sin. Even if people accommodate it to be good, Allah declared it, Allah never liked it. Wal baghaya, and then Allah prohibited oppression and injustice. These are the things that Allah prohibited. He prohibited, He made it unlawful for you to go beyond limits regarding the resources, regarding the integrity, regarding whatever that belong to others, or crossing the limits set by Allah. Wal baghaya bighayr al-haq, except with a permissible permission from Allah Ta'ala or through just cause. Because there are reasons where you can take away the property of somebody and then that particular thing will not be prohibited. For example, he now took your wealth or your money and ran away, and then you took him to the court, and then the court now seized his property. This now is not injustice. It is because he has done. So that's why Allah Ta'ala said, unless bighayr al-haq, meaning not through lawful means. Wa an tushriku billah. Another thing that Allah made prohibited is for you to associate partner with Allah, ma lam yunazzil bihi sultana, with what Allah have not revealed a revelation or an evidence or a proof to back it up. What Allah have never permitted, you should never now go into that. Wa an taqulu ala Allahi ma la ta'lamun. And for you to invent lies against Allah with what you have no evidence and you do not know. So these are the things that Allah prohibited. So rather than declaring certain things permissible and prohibited, do you actually declare these things prohibited? You don't tell lies against Allah. You don't commit transgression or aggression against others. And then you do not go and commit sinful acts in the open or in the secret. And you don't go into shameful acts. These are the things that are established in the tradition and culture of Arabs before the coming of Rasul. sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But he came now to declare that all these things are haram and it should be changed. And within the 23 years of the mission of Nabiuna Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the entire Arabian world was changed, and the attitude of the same people that were killing women, the same people that were fighting and quarreling and shedding blood, the same people that were living on usury, the same people that were living in alcohol, the same people that were living in all this, in 23 years, Rasul changed their attitude 100%. And they became righteous, they became upright, they become up and doing, they become honest, they become caring, they become brave in anything that is noble. This is what Islam came to do, and this is what Al-Quran has been revealed for us to do. Meaning, change our attitude and change the attitude of our community positive. It is not for us to be complaining, things have gone bad, things have come bad, everybody is bad. No. If everybody is bad, try to be good. If things have gone bad, try to give your own little effort. Rasul said, "La takunu inna'atan." Do not be blind followers. Taquluna in ahsana an-nas ahsanna wa in asa'u asa'na. You say we are only whatever people do, so what do we do? If they are good, we are also good. If they are bad, what can you do is the system. No, don't do like that. Rasul said, if people are bad, try to be good. And then if people are good, then try to be good. So you shouldn't just be a blind follower and then declare that it is wajadna aba, and this is what we met as it's a tradition. It's a tradition, it's a culture, you can't change it. No, it's not like that. You have to exert your minimum effort. As Allah said, "Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi, wa in lam yastati' fa bi lisanihi, wa in lam yastati' fa bi qalbihi, wa dhalika adhafu al-iman." If you see an evil as a tradition established, try to change it with the power you have. If you don't have the power, talk about it. If you cannot talk about it, detest it. At least this is the little you can do regarding your iman. But never should you claim it is a tradition or an taqulu ala Allahi ma la ta'lamun. ولكل
أمة أجل فإذا جاء أجلهم لا يستأخرون ساعة ولا يستقدمون.
Just as Allah Ta'ala said, as He created you, so shall you come back to Him. And then the dunya, that are all children of Adam as human beings, were initially created before coming to this dunya, and they pass through experiences within that particular place. And they come to this dunya and passing through challenges, a fight between good and evil, a struggle between good and evil, that then some party are for good and some party are for evil. But for all, whether you are good, whether you are evil, whether you obey Allah or you disobey Allah, whether you are honest or you are a liar and betrayer, وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلٌ. To every community, there is a time limit. Every community has its time limit, and you can't exceed that particular time limit. Look at the community in this civilization. We talk about this century, this particular century. Were there no any century before this century? They were. Were there no people before these people? They were. If you count 200 years ago, virtually all those that are living here were not there. And then 200 years to come, virtually all those that will be here will not be there. So, لِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلٌ. To every community there is a time. To every society there is a time. To every human being there is a time. And to everything there is a time. Even if you feel, now I have the power, now I have the authority, now I have the money, now I have the people, now I have the influence, there's a time. There's a time. Before you become a leader, some people were leaders. If that leadership is not to be occupied by others, it wouldn't have come to you. Before you were rich, other people were rich before you. And where are they now? So to everything, bear it at the back of your mind that there is a time limit for that. وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلٌ. And Allah Ta'ala said, فَإِذَا جَاءَ أَجَلُهُمْ. Once the time placed for that community, when it has reached its own limit, لَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ سَاعَةً. No one can delay a moment for them. Once it is limit, they have come to that particular limit that the creator and owner of existence have declared. That is the limit. Because He owns, He creates, He directs, He gives commands. He is the one and the only one that do not need any, but everything needs Him. So if you now declare that it is time, nobody can delay it. لَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ سَاعَةً وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ. And nobody can hasten and then bring the time before it is due. So it is all under the control of Allah Ta'ala. And that is why one of the trainings that Rasulullah gave the companions, that they were able to withstand all kind of forces and challenge, and then at the end achieve, was this kind of training that put your trust in Allah and also bear it at the back of your mind that everything is temporal. One of the companions was a youth with to Rasul. Rasul searched his shoulder. He said, Ya Ghulam, inni u'allimuka kalimatin. He said, oh, you this young chap, I will teach you some words. I will teach you some words. And listen, as a youth, let me teach you some words. These are the kind of beautiful words that needs to be shared with our youth, needs to be shared with everyone that needs your guide. Rasul said, listen to me, inni u'allimuka kalimatin. I will teach you some words. What are those words? Ihfazillaha yahfazka. Ihfazillaha tajidhu tujahak. Wa idha sa'alta fas'alillah, wa idha ista'anta fasta'in billah. Let me teach you some words. Ihfazillaha yahfazka. Take care of Allah. Remain within the boundaries of Allah. Allah will take care of you. Ihfazillaha tajidhu tujahak. Take care of Allah. Remain within the boundaries of Allah. You will find Allah in your presence. He will never discard you. وَإِذَا سَأَلْتَ فَاسْأَلِ اللَّهِ. If you want to ask Allah. وَإِذَا اسْتَعَنْتَ فَاسْتَعِنْ بِاللَّهِ. If you want to seek for help, seek for the help of Allah. وَعَلَمْ أَنَّ الْأُمَّةَ. And you should bear it at the back of your mind that if all the ummah, وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلٍ, if all the ummah that have a time that Allah has placed for it will gather, Allah أَنْ يَنْفَعُوكَ بِشَيْءٍ, that they want to benefit you with something, لَنْ يَنْفَعُوكَ إِلَّا بِشَيْءٍ قَدْ كَتَبَهُ اللَّهُ لَكَ. They will never be able to benefit you with anything other than what Allah have already written for you. If they will also gather, Allah أَنْ يَضُرُّوكَ بِشَيْءٍ, that they are going to harm you with anything, لَمْ يَضُرُّوكَ إِلَّا بِشَيْءٍ قَدْ كَتَبَهُ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ. They will never be able to harm you with anything other than Allah have already decreed against you. رُفِعَتِ الْأَقْلَامِ وَجَفَّتِ الصُّحُفِ. Everything for Allah have decreed. Imagine a child, a youth that is trained on these words. The kind of life he's going to live. He will live a honorable life. He will live a life that he will respect himself. He will honor himself. He will never disgrace himself, either begging and disgracing himself, or going around and thinking that this is the only way that he can live, even if it is against Allah and whatever. That does not mean somebody will not help him. That does not mean he will not ask for help. That does not mean, but it will not be in a way and manner that he will destroy himself. This is the training Rasul gave the companions. And it is with this they stood firm. It is with this they were able to champion the cause that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked them to champion. So the next thing to ask ourselves, what is our own commitment towards this? Full trust in Allah Ta'ala, confidence in Allah Ta'ala. Believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, put in your maximum effort to seek from Allah. How do you seek from Allah? You don't sit down and fold your hand and say, I'm waiting for Allah. No. Waiting for Allah means the power and energy and opportunity and resources and the energy and the intellect and the opening He has given you, use it. That means you rely on Allah. You use all the resources of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But some of us will just sit down and say, I rely on Allah. Allah will send it to me. Then some people will be bringing sadaqah to you and then you say, yes, Allah is bringing it to me. You know you are lazy. You are lazy. You are supposed to go out. And it is when you go out, when you work, people pay you, or people appreciate you, or people do whatever to you. That one is different. But you now exact your own effort that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Take your steps and then rely and put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what Rasulullah meant by saying, Al-mu'minu al-qawi khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if. Al-mu'min al-qawi, a mu'min that is strong, not strong in physique. Maybe he is giant. Not like that. And you see slim one, you say, oh, Allah said the strong one. No, mean someone who is determined. Al-mu'min al-qawi, a determined believer. Khayrun is better, wa ahabbu ila Allah, and more love to Allah, min al-mu'min al-da'if, to that weak believer who has no determination. Even though all of them are believers and there is something good in them. But this one Allah preferred. So it means as believers, as Muslims, we are not supposed to be lazy. And as believers, as Muslims, we are not supposed to wait for others. We are supposed to take it upon ourselves. Remember our discussions earlier that what we need to do is what? You have to take the battle by yourself. You do not have to be throwing blames to others. Yes, these are the cause of our problem. Yes, it's because he's not my tribe man. That's why he's causing this problem to me. No, because he belongs to one region. That's why this problem is coming. No, because of this. I mean, don't blame anybody. Pick it and then ask Allah for help and see what Allah will do for you. Allah Ta'ala will be there for you. So I pray Allah Ta'ala assist us. So وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلٍ, to every community there is a time. وَإِذَا جَاءَ فَإِذَا جَاءَ أَجَلُهُمْ لَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ سَاعَةً. Once the time has come, it will not be delayed for a moment. وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ, and they cannot be hasting. I mean, it cannot be hasting towards death. Meaning you have to wait for your time. And we are going to stop here also, because it is also time for our own that has been given to us. I pray Allah Ta'ala bless us, guide us, and be with us. Whatever we discussed here that is correct and benefits to us in this dunya and akhirah, may Allah assist us to implement the best out of it. Whatever I say which is wrong, may Allah forgive me and you, and take it away from our minds, and assist us to get the correction. Inshallah, we have some questions that were asked earlier before. We have time to answer the questions. This one said, Assalamu alaikum. He said, please, Ya Sheikh, what is the difference between mani and mazi? What's the difference between mani and mazi? What's the difference between mani and mazi? And then number two, he said, please, Sheikh, about the repayment of missed prayer, 2, 3, or 4 rak'ahs. What is the best format for repaying missed prayer? Okay, the first one, the difference between mani and mazi. Mani, that is the sperm. It has, just as our scholar will say, that he used yatadaffaku. I mean, it used to push fi khurujihi. While coming, it used to come with force, and it is thick, and it usually comes after sexual affairs or a very strong desire of sexual satisfaction. That is mani. While mazi is a fluid that is not thick like mani, that usually come as a result of a minor sha'wa, maybe looking at the opposite gender, and then that sense of lust will come into the person. Then fluid that will come out from that is called mazi. So the rule of mazi is just like the rule of al-bawl, meaning the way you will just go and clean that particular place with water. If you passed urine, that is what you do to the mazi also. But once it is mani, you have to go and take the ghusl janaba. That means you have to go and take that ritual bath, and then from there you will clean that. So this is the two difference between mazi and mani. One comes as a result of minor lustful look, lustful thinking, and some other things, while mani usually comes as a sperm, which will usually come out as a result of strong desire or satisfaction of sexual needs. Then the second, he said, repayment of missed prayer, rakat. What is the best format for repaying missed prayer? You see, when you say the best format, what I will do, I will only explain the format that is comfortable to me, which I understand. Because there are division of opinion regarding scholars. You get that? If you miss Salat, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned a hadith regarding paying Salat. If you are observing Salatul Maghrib, for example, then you miss the first rak'ah, you now get the 2 rak'ahs, right? So the 2 rak'ahs you get with the Imam, after the Imam says Salam, how do you repay the last rak'ah, the one you missed? I think that's the kind of question, isn't it? How do you pay that rak'ah, the one you missed? What a lot of scholars are giving fatwa these days is that you continue with your salat, so that your last rak'ah, you recite Surah Al-Fatiha silent alone, meaning you have completed the salat. While other scholars, especially scholars of the school of fiqh of Maliki school of thought, they say, no, that is not what should be done. You are to use that last rak'ah you miss, the one you miss, is the one that you are going to bring it back. Now, and they all use the same hadith to establish their evidence. Which one is more comfortable to you is what now is left for you to search for the knowledge. But I will share with you the one I am convinced with. Do you understand me? So that I don't say I'm attacking the other scholar. The hadith say, إِذَا أَتَيْتُمُ الصَّلَاةَ فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالسَّكِينَةِ. Rasul say, whenever you come for salat, be calm. Don't be running. فَمَا أَدْرَكْتُمْ فَصَلُّوا. Whatever you meet, observe that salat you meet. وَمَا فَاتَكُمْ. What you missed, فَأَتِمُّوا. You should fill complete the salat, aw faqdu, or you repay the salat. So where the division of opinion is fa'atimu aw faqdu. Do you get that? Repay or complete. So those that are saying complete, they say, there is nothing. Rasul said, fa'atimu, complete. So if you stand up, what you will do is you complete your salat. So if you are to complete your salat, the last rak'ah will be what? Silent, and only Fatiha, and you obey the hadith. And that is that. Then our scholars of fiqh said, no, that's not the meaning of the hadith. It's the same hadith, but that's not the meaning. You can join the two meaning, fa'atimu and faqdu. But you now look at the construction of the sentence that Rasul said. Rasul said, إِذَا أَتَيْتُمُ الصَّلَاةِ, if you come to salat, فَمَا أَدْرَكْتُمْ فَصَلُّوا, what you meet, you observe it. وَمَا فَاتَكُمْ, what you missed. Do you get this point? What you missed, not what remained. So he said, وَمَا فَاتَكُمْ, and all the hadiths, this is what they say, وَمَا فَاتَكُمْ, what you missed. Now, فَأَتِمُّ أَوْ فَقْدُ, what you miss, you complete or you repay. So our scholars will say, whether you are talking about repay or completing, Rasul is saying, what you miss, use it to complete. Or what you miss, use it to repay. And which one do you miss? Is it done with Fatiha? Which one do you miss? The Fatiha and Surah. So that is وَمَا فَاتَكُمْ, not what is left. So in this case, our scholars of fiqh will say that no, to complete that Salatul Maghrib, if you now stand up, it is the one you miss that rak'ah with recitation of Fatiha and Surah in the open, that is what you are going to use to complete. So agreed is to complete, but to complete with what? With what you miss. Not to complete with what is left, what you have not missed. So this is the division of the opinion. So it will depend on which one you are more comfortable. Do you get that? It depends on which one you are more comfortable. And I usually advise, when you are taking issues that have to do with ibadah, try as much as you can to study it. Get a scholar, take a book and follow it gradually. Don't just be relying with single fatwa or statement, because there are implications to so many things you do in ibadah. Try to know, this statement I'm telling you is the position of our scholars for the past over 600 or 700 years ago. You will read some other books of fiqh. For example, go to Mukhtasar Khalil, you will see this. That this is what you do, is what you miss that you use it to complete. But at the same time, there are other scholars also of fiqh, of also similar number of years, that now talk about, no, their understanding is just completing the salat. So I don't have the authority now to answer this question of saying which one is the best. But I think which one do you understand better? And I think I told you the one I understand better. So next time if you see me completing my salat that way, don't say, that manner. Yes, it happened to us one day. We traveled to Egypt for one program. And similar thing happened. And I was completing my salat. Someone raised this issue among in Cairo itself. Someone raised the issue that, why am I completing my salat like this in Arabic? Then the Imam said, Nigeria? Are you from Nigeria? He said, Maliki Mazhaban. And what he's doing is Maliki school of thought. So what we are saying is that let's just learn how to worship based on knowledge. And from there, whatever you do based on knowledge, you will not be misguided. Scholars are based on intellectual, what do you call it? They use their intellectual ability to be able to drive what is correct, what is this. None of them, and that's why we are talking about sects. You remember I said this thing. And maybe before the end of Ramadan, if I get time, we'll discuss about why the Mazahib al-Arba are not called sects. Mazhab of Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanafi, and Abu, they are not sects, they are not called sects. But rather they are school of thoughts. And there's a difference between school of thoughts and sects as far as our scholars are concerned. But what we do these days sometimes, once someone have different of opinion with you regarding a way of worship or a way of ibadah, you begin to see him as belonging to a particular sect, and from there he become an enemy to you, and before you realize it, you make more trouble a problem to the Ummah. May Allah protect us. Then the next question, this one says, Assalamu alaikum.